Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to create a new X account and how to develop it effectively. So why do we need to build and grow X accounts? First, X is a huge digital network and it's actually pretty easy to grow on it. Second, we can develop it in several different countries. For example, if you were looking to sell a specific product, you could choose to market it in various countries that primarily use English, or perhaps in regions where the local people speak Japanese or Korean fluently. Those are countries where there are a lot of X users, making it really easy to market and sell products through X, especially in countries where the language and the number of X users are significant, like South Korea or Japan. And if you're good at English, you can also sell in countries like the US or European countries or other places where English is spoken. Developing an X account isn't too difficult, and the costs are pretty low. Especially right now, X has a program offering 50% off premium account prices for the first 2 months. So it is definitely worth your time to try it out and experience the unique benefits of a truly global social network. If you are currently thinking about building to sell high-quality SaaS products or specialized digital tools on a global scale, then X is an absolutely fantastic place for you to do exactly that. For example, right now I'm running 3 X accounts. This is account number 9. This account has the highest engagement. Currently, it has over 30,000 followers. For example, my regular posts get a lot of engagement from people. Here's one of my posts. For instance, a day ago there were 104 people engaging, 180 people engaging, and the number of hearts and likes is really high. And I'll open up the analytics for you guys. So this is the engagement level. You can see that in the past 7 days, the reach was 3.4 million and the number of profile visits was 25,000. So you can just think of it as 25,000 profile visits means 25,000 people saw my product link. That kind of cost is much cheaper compared to what you'd spend on advertising. Because when you run ads, the cost for global advertising is really high. If you run video ads, you'll see the price is about $5 for 1 million visits. But with video ads, not everyone actually sees your product link. Alright, so this is one account, and I'm also running some other accounts as well. For example, with the GUI account, I'm running ads in the Japanese market. As you can see, this is a completely new account running in the Japanese market. And another account is for the Korean market. This is also a new account that I'm running in the Korean market. Let me open up the analytics section for you guys. This account was also just opened 3 days ago, day 1, 2, 3. So you can take a look at the number of impressions here. The number of impressions, the number of followers. So if you're just starting out and you want to grow accounts for marketing or selling products in multiple countries, X is actually really easy to use. Compared to TikTok or other social networks that require a lot of time to make videos and maintain your account, X is much simpler. You can use multiple accounts on your phone, as well as on your computer. You can even use it both on your computer and run it on a VPS at the same time. You can also run it directly on a VPS as well. And to manage your accounts, you can run it in multiple places. Basically, X doesn't restrict where you can run your accounts. You can open it on your phone, open it on your computer, and you don't need to change proxies or switch to international settings. For example, with this account, I'm targeting Korean customers, but I still run it from a Vietnamese IP as usual, without having to do any complicated steps. Posts on the homepage still suggest content from Korean users, and most of the engagement still comes mainly from Koreans. For example here, these are the comment interactions. Alright, if you're planning to run ads, first, for example, this is a brand new account, hasn't done anything yet, when you finish setting it up, there's basically nothing there, right? So if you want to run X, first you need to verify it. Actually, when we say verify, it basically means you're paying X. You click this button. When you click it, you'll see that it's free for you. Well, not exactly free. It gives you a 50% discount for the first 2 months. That's about 65,000 VND per month. And starting from the 3rd month, you'll have to pay 129,960 Vietnamese dong, which is basically 130,000 Vietnamese dong per month. This price is pretty cheap. Just consider it a marketing expense. It's only about $3, not even $3, for you to start your business. After that, you'll proceed to make the payment. Just click and proceed with the payment as usual. You can pay with any regular card, even a Vietnamese card is fine, there's no problem at all. Whatever card you have, just use that card to pay. Alright, after you finish the payment, you'll have what's called a verified account. It'll just have a check mark here, nothing else is different. In terms of identification, okay? There will be a mark there. Let me reopen my account, okay? If your account isn't verified, it won't have that check mark. So why do you need a verified account versus an unverified one? You can see there are these check marks here, right? This great check mark is more expensive, you know? Alright. So X is basically an environment that really distinguishes between different levels. Just imagine, accounts with check marks and those without are seen as two different types of users. Usually, accounts with check marks don't follow accounts without them. So if you want your account to get more followers, you need to have a check mark. And secondly, accounts without check marks tend to want to follow accounts that have them. So basically, you can think of it like dividing people into the poor class and the wealthy class. If you have a check mark, it shows that you're a bit more well off and you'll get more attention and connections. That's how users perceive it. From a system perspective, X will give priority to accounts with check marks, meaning your posts will appear higher up compared to accounts without check marks. For example, if you comment on something and you have a check mark, your comment will be prioritized and shown more prominently. Like here, if you have a check mark, you'll be given display priority. If you comment without a check mark, for example, you'll notice your comment gets pushed down lower. It's not sorted by the time the post was made, but rather in its own way. So if you don't have a check mark to get more visibility, it's going to be much harder compared to an account that's verified. Besides that, there are a few other perks, like seeing fewer ads and so on. But that's not really that important, because from my experience using X, I don't think there are that many ads anyway. Unlike Facebook or other social networks where ads pop up all the time, X actually has pretty few ads. They only show up once in a while. The last benefit of having a verified account is that you can join X's monetization program. It's called the Creator Studio program. So once you meet the requirements for monetization, you can participate in X's monetization program. I'll introduce the monetization part in another video. That one will go into more detail about how to make money and how you can actually get started earning. This video is more focused on how you can build a new X account. To build a new X account, Just imagine that X is like a sticky rice machine that Mood bought 3 years ago. Back then, 3 years ago, X had a lot of activities related to crypto. But even after Mood bought it, there are still activities related to crypto. It has expanded to include other activities like news-related activities, tech-related activities, and so on. And the programming and management team at X has now shrunk by 80% compared to when Twitter was sold to X. And because we're using X at this point, the vast majority of its sophisticated underlying algorithms will actively manage and regulate our digital accounts in much the same manner as it would observe a person who is cautiously stepping into a completely new and unfamiliar society. So, when you first step into a completely new and unfamiliar society, if you decide to build a social media account that is totally new and doesn't have much of a connection to famous celebrities, high-profile politicians, or any kind of exclusive news, then you are essentially just like an ordinary person navigating your way through a completely new and vast digital space. So to grow, keep in mind that when we're new, we post content and hope that others will follow us and interact with our posts. But since you're not a celebrity, to make that happen, you have to take it step by step. The first step is to post content. When you first create an account, you should only post 1 or 2 times a day. It's just like when you first show up on social media, you can't just post non-stop or put up a bunch of posts at once. And when you post, try to establish your own style and voice. Basically, figure out the vibe and tone you want to use in your posts. You can post about topics like technology, news, programming, and so on. Basically, you can post about a lot of different things, but try to keep a consistent persona throughout. Present yourself as the same kind of person. You can't just post memes one day and then switch to soccer or random stuff the next day. If you do that, people won't be able to recognize who you are, and if they can't figure that out, it'll be hard for you to make friends. That's just in the beginning, though. Later on, once you have a stable following, you can branch out and post more varied content. The second thing is, preparing content like this isn't too difficult. You can use ROG or just GPT to write your content. And for 9x, when you're developing in other languages, if you're not very good at them, you can also use a translation system. It'll translate for you. You can click here to translate and understand the content. It's really simple. Once you have completely finished writing your social media post, once you have finished this part, you can then safely move on to the very next step in the process. To increase your follower count, on X there are 2 things, follow win and follower. Follow win means you are following someone else, and follower means someone else is following you. The follow win isn't important, but the follower count is. That means when you post something, your followers will be able to see your posts. A large percentage of your followers will see your posts, and when they do, they'll interact with you. So our goal is to increase the number of followers we have. So how do you get more followers? The simplest and most effective way to get more followers is to actively find a user base that perfectly matches your specific target audience for long-term growth. For example, with this particular account, I am specifically targeting people who are professional programmers or innovative product developers. To reach this niche group effectively, the easiest way is to join various online communities, and there are truly a lot of diverse communities out there across different platforms. For instance, if I am targeting a specific demographic, I could join specialized design communities or technical programming communities to find people who share the exact same professional needs and personal interests as me. By engaging in these spaces, you can build authentic connections with individuals who are already interested in the type of content you provide, making them much more likely to follow your journey and support your work over time. And the most common way is to look for posts in these communities, reply to comments, and interact with their posts so that when they see you engaging with their content, they'll be more likely to engage back with yours. That's the most basic mechanism for you to use. Of course, if I'm developing content in Japanese, then I'll join communities with people who use Japanese. Or if I'm developing content in Korean, then I'll join communities with people who use Korean. In order to interact and connect with others, you absolutely have to become what's called a reply guy on X. That is, someone who goes around commenting to increase your network of connections. On X, besides the community feature, there's also a feature called lists. You can add people you want to a list, and by following this list, you can comment on their posts more quickly, because X will show you, for example, oh, this person just posted something a minute ago. And you can click on that person to interact with them more quickly. So how do you build this list? It's actually really simple. You can check out and click on anyone in the followers or following section to find people who are a good fit. For example, you can scroll through people related to programming, and if you find someone, you can either add them as a friend or add them to your list. Like here, if I click here, there will be even more options. You can just click. Alright. For instance, if I see someone who fits, I can add them to the list by adding them right here. Alright. Okay. So how do you find the right people? Especially when you have a new account. If you're a new account, you should pay attention to finding people with a small number of followers. For example, those with under 1,000 followers will interact with you much more easily than those with a large following, because people with lots of followers are much harder to connect with. That's why we need to look for people with a certain number of followers, especially those with verified accounts. For example, I'll click on this one. Like, this person here has 1,136 followers, so that's fine. That's suitable. We'll add this person to our list. And once we've added them to the list, we can start interacting with them by commenting or posting content. For example, this person just reports. They only do reporting. Actually, with someone who only does reporting, they won't spend much time nurturing relationships because most of the time they're just focused on reporting. So we can look for someone else. For example, let's find another person. For instance, this person here seems to lean more toward trading, so we can add them to our list. Keep in mind, what we're doing is adding them to our list, not hitting the follow button. Because if you hit the follow button on them, let me open the profile again so you can visualize it. If you hit the follow button, your number of followings will go up. Click follow. Your number of followings will increase. Let me reload the page. See, it went up from 85 to 86, and when we click on it, the number of followings increases, but it does not really have much effect because people will not notice you. The person you just followed will not see you. Instead of following, you should comment on this person's post. Whenever you leave a comment, people will notice, they'll see it, and they'll interact with you more. Commenting is actually really simple. You just copy the content and use Chat's DBT. Alright then, that sounds good. You can use ChatGPT to generate your comment content, then just paste it in. That way, even if you're not that fluent in Korean, you can still complete this commenting task. It's actually pretty simple. You can also see how effective your comment is. Once you post it, it'll show up right here. If someone interacts with you, it'll show up here. And if you want to see the latest comments, they'll appear in the reply section right here. That's it. You can see it right here. So if you're doing this manually, that's how you do it. Basically, you interact with other people, and this interaction encourages them to follow you on their own. And when they follow you, you go ahead and follow them back. When someone follows you here, you can follow them back just by clicking follow back. So what's the advantage of following back? They've already followed you first. If they follow you first and then you follow them back, X will recognize that as much better than if you just follow someone and wait for them to follow you back. The main point here is that you're shifting from a passive to an active approach. And when you take the initiative, your engagement rate and follower count will increase much faster. That's how you do it manually. But if you decide to use a professional tool like XToGrow, you can grow your channel much faster and far more efficiently than ever before. XToGrow is a powerful tool and a versatile assistant that helps you effectively manage and significantly boost engagement across all of your multiple X accounts. All you really have to do is this. After successfully installing the software, a small, helpful tool will automatically appear right here on your screen. And what can you do with this little tool? First, it helps you efficiently search through and thoughtfully reply to comments using a voice and style that is uniquely your own. Second, it helps you meticulously build and organize comprehensive lists that are vastly more effective and streamlined than doing it manually. So now I'll perform those tasks I mentioned earlier using XToGrow for you. First, let's talk about the lists. I have two lists here. I can add a new list. Here it is. Alright. For example, I currently have 3 different lists right here in front of me. To begin building a brand new list of your own, you will first need to navigate over to the XToGrow section of the interface, where you will clearly see a small plus sign icon. Once you click on that icon, you can go ahead and add your very first list to the system. It is important to note that this specific list will initially need to have some members that you have manually selected and added yourself. After you have successfully added this list, you can then utilize the advanced filter tool located here, and the system will automatically begin to load all of the relevant users for you. Specifically, all of the users who are currently following you and who also possess verified accounts will be fully loaded by the system's backend. This essentially creates a list of accounts that have been carefully segmented, which specifically refers to the blue check accounts you see. Once you have finished loading them into the view, you have the option to filter the results even further to meet your needs. For instance, if you find that you are only interested in targeting Korean accounts, or perhaps if you want to filter them by their total number of followers, let's say specifically looking for those with under 1,000, then the system will generate a refined list of users with fewer than 1,000 followers. These individuals are likely managing relatively new accounts, much like your own, which means you can effectively target these people for your outreach. However, if your strategy involves targeting professional programmers, you should keep in mind that those people usually have their own products or projects, right? Therefore, you will probably want to specifically add those individuals who have a visible UI or a functional interface. By applying these layers of filters, you might find that a broad group of 300 people is narrowed down to just 12 high-quality leads who perfectly meet your target criteria. Once you have identified that final group, you can easily add those specific people to your permanent list. For example, you could add them directly into list number 3 for future engagement. So I'll add them to list number 3 here. I can also add them to list number 2. Don't worry, if there are already 23 members in the list, when I add more, there won't be any duplicates. The system will automatically check for duplicates when you add them, and for each list here, I've filtered it down to just 12 people. I'll go ahead and add 6 of them. Then I'll click the Start Adding button, and it will start adding them to the list for me. I'll click it again, okay. See, it's adding them to the list for me. Let me open a new tab for you guys. Okay. I'm currently running attention here, so if I go ahead and do this, it'll automatically reload, right? You see this right here. When I reload the page, you'll notice that there's already a member listed here. The system will run the process and add it in for you automatically. So please keep in mind that the add task is basically the exact same thing as the action of reviewing a person in the system. Reviewing an account and searching for members who have the blue check mark and meet the criteria we just mentioned. That task will be to add them here, set the criteria, and to add, keep in mind that a regular person, when you first start, you can't just create 10 lists and add 100 people to each list. That means you'd be running 10 times 100, which is 1,000. If you suddenly run 1,000 actions with a new account, the system will automatically shadow ban your account. That means it will soft lock your account. So when you post something, nobody will see it. So keep in mind that with a new account, when you're adding to lists, you should only add a total of about 100 actions per day, especially for new accounts. With older accounts, you can add more actions and it's usually fine. But with new accounts, if you add too many too quickly, X will automatically shadow ban your account. It's not a hard ban, just a soft lock, so you need to keep the number of actions reasonable, especially in the beginning. For example, here there are 2 lists, and you can add up to 12 people. That's fine. You should add them like that. So my suggestion is, for example, if you're just starting out, you only need to comment around 50 to 100 times a day, no more than about 100. When you create a list, you should also only make it with about 100 members. Now, why do we need to create multiple lists? When you create a list, whenever someone new posts something, it will be listed in the list below in chronological order. For example, if there are 2 people, the post that was made earlier, like at 6 o'clock, you see, the post that was made earlier will appear higher up. Reports do not count. Only posts that people make themselves will show up at the top. So the newest post will appear first, and we should comment on the newest post to have an advantage. That's the task with the list. If you have any questions about the list, just ask below this video and I'll explain it more clearly, okay? Next, after you have the list, you can use this tool. You have a task, which is the list here. Earlier, I copied list number 3 and created it like this. Then I'll add it in. It's a line right here. Let's review it first. Earlier, I also joined a community here, and this community is about English. If you have any community that fits, just add it in, okay? You can also add the community here. Remember to check the box, then add it and save it. This is the first feature of the tool, and it's one I use quite a lot. This is the automatic comment interaction feature. If you're worried about your account running in automatic mode and having issues, you can switch to manual mode by turning off both automatic features. Note that on X, if you run in manual mode, you are fully compliant with 100% of X's policies. That means X allows you to use support tools to help you reply. But you have to click the reply button, okay? So in manual mode, I'll go ahead and load it up for you to see. You can see here are the posts I've collected, sorted from newest to oldest. For example, this is a new post in this community, in this list. Can you see it? These are posts with very little engagement, and when there's so little engagement like this, when you go ahead and comment, you'll have a big advantage. Your comment will be right at the top as the very first one. That way, people can see your comments and they might add you as a friend or follow you. To interact with that post, you just need to click the reply button here. Then, the system will analyze both this account's information and your account to provide, once a suitable reply is generated, I'll show you the content of your reply. For example, here's the post and here's the content. Since my account is set up as a programmer, the reply will sound just like a regular programmer would respond because it uses the information here. So as you can see, the reply content fits well, which means this person will notice, oh, there's this user here. They'll click to check out your profile and proceed to connect with you. Now, if you want it to interact and reply automatically, you just need to go into the settings and turn on auto reply mode. Auto-like means it will automatically hit the heart button for you, so you just click on auto-like. And for a new account, keep in mind that in one day, we will reply to about 100 interactions, about 100 replies. So with 100 replies a day, and there are 24 hours in a day, that means in 1 hour, we'll reply to 5 or 6 messages, which is about once every 10 minutes. You can adjust the timing here, adjust the timing right here. This is the minimum value and the maximum value, so it will randomly pick a time within that range to reply, making it seem more human. For example, you can set it to reply every 5 to 10 minutes. Similarly, for likes, you can also adjust it. For instance, every 3 minutes, it will like one post, or from 3 to 16 minutes, it will like one post within that time frame. After you finish configuring these settings, you'll click the Sell button, and then click Start again to let the system begin running. Rest assured, the system won't reply to the same post multiple times. For example, if a post has just been automatically replied to by the system, it'll be marked with this color. You'll be able to see that the next scheduled automatic reply will be in about 400 seconds. So if you divide 400 seconds by 60, that's a little over 6 minutes, almost 7 minutes. You'll see that the system will automatically space out the replies over that time and handle the responses for you. Besides the feature that automatically replies and interacts with posts in the list or in the sections you select, the system also has a feature for automatically interacting to reply. For posts that are published on your profile, like the ones you just wrote, if someone comments on them, for example, if someone leaves a comment, the system will also automatically reply for you. So when these people comment, the system will automatically respond to them as well. This automatic reply to comments helps create a deeper connection between you and your followers, and thanks to that, you'll get more attention from people, and you'll have more people maintaining a connection with you. Because following and unfollowing is just a click of a button. People can just click once and it's done. So you need to maintain that connection between you and them. That way you can make sure your account stays active. This account is still very new, so the engagement here is pretty low, but I'll just turn it on, and in here there are 3 settings. One is auto reply, which is already available, then auto like, and auto follow back. With auto follow back, the system will automatically perform the task of following people who have already followed you. It will automatically click on the verify follower section, and for anyone you haven't followed yet, it will automatically follow them. This is the task you need to do so that when someone follows you, you'll follow them back. This way, you create a solid two-way connection quickly and efficiently, so they won't ever want to disconnect from you. When you run the software, just make sure to turn on these 2 specific settings, and basically, you're completely good to go. Let me show you exactly how it works. Here's a recent post I just replied to a little bit earlier today. You can clearly see that I got an immediate positive response from this person right away. See how well that works? This kind of interaction is logical and makes sense, which means your content also comes across as reasonable. That person will think, oh, this guy is really active. I just posted and he already commented. So they'll go ahead and follow you. You don't need to follow them first. You just wait for them to follow you, then you can follow back. Next, since we have so many accounts, there's no way we can manage all of those accounts at once, so you can use a feature to schedule your posts. You just click on Schedule New Post here. For example, if you have a lot of accounts like this, you can go ahead and schedule posts. You just click here to create a new post. Making a post is really simple. You can use Rock, or you can ask Rock. Alright, so you might definitely remember that Rock-type moves are incredibly effective and powerful when it comes to battling certain opponents, especially those that are flying, bug, fire, or ice types. It is really important to keep in mind how these specific elemental advantages can completely turn the tide of a match in your favor, providing you with a significant strategic edge that can lead you straight to a decisive victory if you use your rock-type attacks at just the right moment during the heat of the competition. Gathering information and providing insights, especially with information on X, it can compile things really quickly. Here's a post where I ask it to summarize the last 24 hours, though I'm not sure exactly what it summarized. You can ask it to compile information, and then when we want to write content, once it's done summarizing, as soon as the summary has been fully completed to your satisfaction, you can simply copy all of that specific content right here, and then navigate over to the dedicated content section to begin writing it out in full detail. Furthermore, you also have the option to ask Rock to create a high-quality custom image for you. This helpful feature will assist us greatly in generating high-impact visuals to accompany the text as well. Once you have finished that part, we can move on to choosing an image that fits your personal style and brand best. Take your time to look through the options, pick the one you like most, and then proceed to upload it to the platform. After the upload is complete, you can easily schedule the post by manually setting the specific posting time and date according to exactly when you want it to go live for your audience to see. For example, if I want to schedule it for 3 p.m., you just click here. Once you set it, you'll see your list of posts, and the ones that are scheduled will show up as pending here. Any posts that have already been published will show up over here, okay? Older posts that have been published will also be listed here. So as you can see, there are different avatars here. By doing this, you've created a new post. 9x, so the timing, your posts will be published much faster compared to other platforms, which is a pretty big advantage when you're developing on Xuan X. Now let's go back. Once you've scheduled your post, let me show you again. When you've set a scheduled time for your post, the content will appear here. You can either click the button to publish it right away, or you can wait. The system will wait until the scheduled time and then automatically publish the post for you. So those are the three main tasks. If you happen to miss something, remember to click the button to restart the process because it won't run automatically right away. You need to click the button again to get it going. The third icon is related to account information, but we can skip that. The next icon is for configuration settings. You can configure the content settings for the AI to operate. Here you can set the length of the AI's responses, short, medium, or long. After configuring, you can come over here to test it out. You can also choose whether or not to use emojis by turning that option on or off. For language, you can require the AI to respond in a specific language or leave it in the default automatic mode, where it will automatically base its response on the language of the post. For example, if the post is in English, it will reply in English. If the post is in Japanese, it will reply in Japanese. If the post is in Korean, it will reply in Korean. However, you can also force it to respond in a specific language. For instance, if you're Japanese, you might want it to always reply in Japanese. Or if you're Korean, you might want it to always reply in Korean. You can force it to do that. Next, you can add a product link, meaning a link to your product. This product link also has 3 modes: never mention, mention it smartly, or always mention it. Usually, I choose the auto mode, which means it will consider whether the post is relevant to the product information you want to share. If it is, it will add the link. My suggestion is that if you have a new account, you shouldn't use the product link feature yet, because when you comment with a link, it's going to be very difficult to create a connection, especially in the early stages when you need to build relationships. If you decide to use the product link feature, you need to enter your product link in the introduction section. The more detailed your product introduction is, the easier it will be for others to understand and for you to choose the right comment. This is the configuration at the symbol mode level, meaning you can customize it based on the available settings. If you want to create a separate form for yourself, you should use the custom instruction mode. Here, you can write who you are, what you do, what you want to sell, how you want AI to respond, and so on. Just write it all here, and the AI will use these custom instructions to generate a unique form just for you, allowing you to customize it to the highest degree. Next, with the next icon, it's the feature I mentioned earlier, which is the list building mode. This mode helps you build lists of people you interact with who match your goals. Like I said before, you can filter and select people who are suitable. Lastly, there's the VIP upgrade icon. If you want to know the price of this product, just click here to proceed. For the upgrade, this system only costs $9 a month, and you're not limited in the number of people you can interact with for managing one account. If you manage more accounts, you'll pay a higher fee. You can pay weekly, monthly, yearly, or even for a lifetime subscription. Especially, you can also run a trial. The trial is completely free. There's absolutely no cost for you to run a test. The only limitation is the number of comments, which is capped at 100. Other than that, all the features are the same as the creator package. When you run it, you just need to click and leave it alone, and it will work effectively. Earlier, I noticed it just followed back, so I'll go back to the account to show you. I just started running it a moment ago. So basically, when we are dealing with brand new accounts, we will make sure to increase the overall follower count very gradually over time. The results might start to come in quite slowly at first, but this method is definitely much more safe and secure. In my personal experience using this specific tool, as well as from the detailed feedback I have received from some of you who have only just started using it recently, I've noticed that within a month, we can easily reach around 2,000 to 3,000 followers, and your emulation count can hit about 5 million in a month. Looking at this growth rate, you can see that these numbers are achievable. Once we reach that level after a month, we can request to join X's monetization program. And once you meet the criteria to join the monetization program, you'll be able to start earning money directly. For this kind of growth, you should plan for a growth period of about 1 to 2 months to reach around 3,000 verified followers. The ratio of verified followers to unverified ones, about 3,000 verified, is a good target for you to start making money. If you happen to have any specific questions at all while you are working on this project, please feel free to leave a detailed comment right below this video. I will truly do my absolute best to respond to you as quickly as I can and support your progress as much as possible. Please do not hesitate to leave your questions in the comments section, okay? Alright then, goodbye for now, and I am really looking forward to seeing you again in my very next tutorial video. Have a wonderful time coding, and I will see you soon.